I'm going to show you the simplest way to create a drop-down menu that look like this. You can select any options. Go from option 1 to option 3 and option 3 to option 2 like this. If this is something that you like to learn, follow along. So the first thing we want to create is the option. So to create the options, we have to select the text. Create a text. Let's call this option 1. Right click and then select add auto layout. Okay, once you have added the auto layout, click on the create component on the top right hand side over here. And then once you have turned this into a component, you make sure that you select this component and then you click add variant. Okay, it's gonna create a variant of your component. Now select your component. Okay, let me just change this and rename it from frame 1, and let me just call this option. So select this option component and then go to fill, click on it and just give it a white background. Okay, now you have two variant over here, variant 1 and variant 2. Now for the second variant of these options, I would like to change the background color. Click on fill and change it to a slight darker gray color like this. Alright, okay, zoom out a little bit. Now once I'm done, I can go to assets and search for option. Once I found options, I just drag it to the editor here. Close this off, click on file. Okay, now I have this option over here. I can just copy it. Copy. Okay, let me just Control C or Command C and paste it here like this. Okay, I'm gonna create 3 copies of this. For the second option over here, I'm gonna change the text and call it option 2. For the third one, I'm gonna call it option 3. Okay, once I'm done, I will have 3 options ready for use. Now, of course, this doesn't look anything like a drop-down menu yet. So the next thing that we'll have to add, it's the options that we have chosen for the drop-down menu. So let's say that we have already chosen option 1. So let's type option 1. We'll need to find like a downward facing arrow. So I like to use this plugin called Iconify. So you can right click, go to plugins and search for Iconify. If you don't see it over here, you can click on manage plugins and then search for Iconify. Okay, once you have found it, just select it. It's gonna open up something like this. Okay, in the search bar of Iconify, you can search for CARET and click enter. You should see something like this. You can select anything you want, but I'll just select this the sleeker looking ones. Okay, once I click on it, I just have to drag it out onto my Figma editor here. Okay, sometimes it looks extremely big. Don't worry about it. You can always resize it. I'd like to change this to, I'd like to constrain the properties first for this icon, constrain the properties, and then I will change the height and the width to 16 like this. Okay, so now it has 16 width and 16 height, 16 px height. Okay, once I have something like this, I'm going to select this text that I've created. This is the text I've created earlier. Select it and then select the icon, select both of them, right click, and then you'll have to select add auto layout. Alright, once this has an auto layout applied to them, I would like to give them a left and right padding of 10px and a top and bottom padding of 10px as well, like this. Okay, so it looks something like this. Now, once I have this, I will select these 4 elements here. Oops, sorry. I'll select these 4 elements here, right click, and then click add auto layout. Alright, and once I'm done, I will just give it a background color. Select this frame, a background color of white like this. Alright, now there's one thing I want you to notice is, if you were to hover over to this frame, you will notice that there is a gap between each of these elements. That is because if you were to click on the frame, you can see that the vertical gap between the objects is 2px. I'm going to change this to 0px. Okay, and if I hover over to option 1, option 2, option 3, you notice that the width is is shorter than the first element at the top over here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna select option 1, option 2, and option 3 like this, and then we will go over to the width, click on the down arrow and select fill container like this. Alright, and once we are done, we kind of have a drop down menu over here. But of course, all of this, you can see that the alignment doesn't really, it's not really pleasing to the eye. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select the entire frame. You can see, okay, there's no options. I need you to select on the individual element within the frame. Click on option 3, option 2, option 1, and of course, you can click on the first element as well within the frame, and then you go over here and left align them, right? Align left for all of them. Click on this, it will align left. Okay, just take note as this one. Now you can see that it is more aesthetically pleasing right now. Okay, next we're gonna give this frame a border of a 1px. Okay, so you go to stroke, click on stroke. Of course, now it's very harsh, it's black, but we can leave it as it is. So now you have like a 1px border outline like this. All right. Now select the frame. Let's rename it and call this drop down. Okay, let's call this drop down. Select the drop down frame and then click on create component. Once you have turned this drop down into a component, select the drop down component and click add variant. Okay, now you have something like this. Okay, so within the drop down component, you have two variants, 1 and 2. So why do we need this? We need this because I would like to turn one of the variant into a drop down menu of when it is closed. One is open and one is going to be closed. So what does the closed one look like? So what we're going to do is we're going to select the one at the bottom, select option 1, 2, and 3 for the bottom variant. Okay, again, select 1, 2, 3. I need you to right click on it once you have selected the 3 elements, and then you will choose, let me find the height option. Is there any height option here? Okay, I can't really find the height options. Okay, yep, I found it. So there's a show and height option here. Click on the show and height. It's going to become like this. Okay, it's going to become like this. What we're going to do next is I would like to copy 3 more of this. So I'm going to select these 2 variant, Command C or Control C. Okay, I think that's an easier way to do it. Okay, you select these 2 variant and you can see this plus sign, add variant, click on it. Okay, and it's gonna duplicate it over here. I want you to drag this over here like this. Okay, make it left and right. Do the same, add variant, select this 2 variant and click add variant. Okay, you have a duplicate version of it again. So now you have something like this. Oops, oh, sorry about that. Alright. Okay, so what are we going to do with this? For the first column, this 2 is going to be to simulate the part when we have selected option 1. And the one at the middle over here is going to be option 2, and the last column is going to be for option 3. So, for the first column is already option 1, so I'm going to leave it as it is. For the one in the second column, I'm going to change it from option 1 to option 2, like this. Okay, of course, for the one at the bottom as well, I'm going to change it to option 2. Now, for the last one, obviously, it's going to be option 3, and it's going to be option 3 like this. Alright. So, the next thing that we want to do is to go to our assets, search for drop down, like this, and you can, if you can find a drop down over here, click on it and drag it to your Figma editor here. Okay, now we're going to give it a try and see whether it actually works. To test it out, we're going to have to create a frame. At the bottom, you can see that's the frame. Click on it, and then just left click on the editor, and you can draw a frame like this. Okay, once you have a frame, click on this drop down that you have added into the Figma editor and drag it inside the frame over here. Let's call this frame a demo frame. Okay, for this demo frame, what I'll do is I'll click on this demo frame and click on prototype. Once I click on prototype, I can click on flow starting point, and you're gonna see something like this. Okay, by default it's gonna be called for flow 1. I'm just gonna rename it and call it demo drop down. Once done, I'm gonna click on the play icon over here. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but you can click on this play icon. Of course, it's gonna open up this interface. I don't really quite like this, so I'm gonna open it up in full screen in presentation view. So let's wait for the moment for it to load. Okay, it's a little bit small. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Fill screen. Okay, now you can see it looks like this. Of course, at this point, when we try to click on the drop-down menu, nothing actually happens. When we hover over to any of the options, you can see that there's not even any hover effect at all. So first thing we like to do is to give it a hover effect. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. To give a hover effect, when we hover over to any of the options, we'll have to go back to the Figma editor over here. And we're gonna go to our options, our option component, click on the first variant while you are clicking on prototype over here. Okay, if you're on design, you're not going to see the options to create a prototype. So you're going to click on prototype over here. Now when you hover over to your component variant, you can see that there is a plus sign when you hover over it at the edges. Okay, at the edges over here, you can just click on this plus sign and drag it to the second variant below it, like this. Once you have connected both variant together, you can see that there is a trigger, action, and so on. All right. What we want to do is, for the trigger, it's going to be while hovering. While hovering, we want to change it to the second variant. Okay. I don't quite like the naming for this. What is exactly property 1? What exactly is property 2? I like to give it a more descriptive name. So in order to change this name to be more descriptive, I will have to click on options. Make sure that I'm on design. And then under properties, you can see that I can hover over here. Double click, double left click, and then just show you again, double left click. You can change the name of the property. I'm just going to call this state. Okay, I've changed the property and call it state. As for the value for the first one, it's going to be default. As for the second one, instead of variant 2, I'm going to call it hover, like this. All right, so now it's a bit clearer what is the state of each of them. All right, and just to be sure that we have the necessary linkage between this default variant and the hover variant, we're going to click on prototype again and just zoom in a little bit. You can see that while hovering from the first variant, default variant is going to switch to the hover variant. Okay, let's see how it works. Let's go to the presentation view over here. If I hover over to option 1, option 2, option 3, you can see that it starts to light up. Okay, like this. Okay, so it starts to light up like this. All right. Of course, you can see that it's not the prettiest, but I just want to show you the functionality of how this drop-down menu works. Okay, let's go back to our editor. What we're gonna do next is actually to make sure that when we click on, when we click on this, it's gonna close this drop-down menu, and then when we click on it from a closed state, it's gonna expand it like this. Let's see how that works. So let's go back to our editor, and then under drop-down component, what we want to do is, for this option 1, I would like to link both of these variants together. So I'm going to click on, make sure that I click on the first variant over here for option 1, on the first column. Select on the first row, select this first row, and we can see that there is a plus icon here. Click on it and drag it all the way down to the second variant on the first column like this. Okay, from this, you're going to connect it to this. Okay, as for the interactions, what we like is on click, change to this. All right. So let's go back to our presentation and see whether that works. I click on it. Okay, you can see that the drop-down menu now is closed. But what happens if I try to click from the closed state? Can I actually open it? Nope, it doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we'll have to create the new interactions where once we click on this closed state, it's going to go back to the open state. Okay, let's go back to the editor. Now, from the closed state over here, same thing, click on this plus and then just connect it to the variant at the top like this. And of course, the trigger is going to be on click. I'm going to change it to an open state like this. Once I go back to my presentation layer, if I click on it, you can see that I can open it now. If I click on this again, I can close it. All right. If I open this again, of course, it's an open state. Cool. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so I would like it to behave in such a way that if I click on option 2, it will close, and then the selected option is going to be changed to option 2. All right. And of course, right now at this stage, when we click on any of the options, nothing actually works. So how can we fix this? So we're going to go back to our editor. Now, let's say that I clicked on option 2 over here. option 2, I would like to show option 2 over here. So it's actually really simple. You can see that on the second column over here, the close state is option 2. So what we're going to do is, from the first column, select option 2, and then you can see that there's a plus icon over here. Click on it and drag the arrow to the close state of option 2. And just make sure that the trigger is on click and the action is changed to, and of course you're going to change it to the appropriate variant over here. Alright, so once I've made this connection, if I just go back to the presentation layer and I click on option 2, you can see that now it has turned to option 2. Of course, you're going to repeat the same process from the close state of option 2. If I were to click on it, of course nothing happens right now. We can do a simple fix. Go back to this editor. From the close state of option 2, I'm going to connect it to the open state of option 2, like this. Okay, just connect it like this. Same thing, make sure the trigger is on click, and then just make sure that it changed to the open state over here. Okay, let's go back to our presentation view. If I were to click on option 2 right now, we can see that it's successfully open. Okay, now of course if I were to, I can repeat the same process. Right now I have not connected option 1, option 2, option 3 in the open state of option 2 drop down menu. So maybe at this stage I'd like you to just pause this video and give it a try before I will show you how to connect the rest of the options. Okay, I hope that you have figured it out yourself. If not, I will show you how to do it step by step. Okay, now from option 2, I would like to go back to option 1. So how do I do that? So for option 1, from the open state of option 2, I'm going to connect it, go back to the editor. So this is the open state of option 2. Select option 1, and then you can see this plus sign. Just click and drag it to the close state of option 1, like this. Okay, once done, go back to the presentation menu. If you click on option 1 right now, you can see that it has changed to the close state of option 1. Right? I hope at this stage you have a sense of how to connect the rest of the options. So I'm going to increase my speed a little bit to show you how to connect the rest of the options so that we can have the full-fledged interactivity for this drop-down menu. Okay, let me go back to my editor. Now, I'm going to start to connect, let's say starting from option 1. I want it to be the case when in this open state, if I were to click on option 1, it's going to go back to, of course, option 1 close state. And within this open state of option 1, if I were to click on option 3, I would like to connect it to the close state of option 3, like this. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for the open state of option 2. I'm going to start to connect option 2. If I were to click on option 2 over here, it's going to go to the close state of option 2. If I click on option 3, it's going to go to the close state of option 3. Cool. Now I'm going to do the same for the open state of option 3. For this, I'm going to click on option 1. If I click on option 1, it's of course going to go to the close state of option 1. If I'm going to click on the option 2, it's going to go to the close state of option 2. If I'm going to click on option 3, of course it's going to go to the close state of option 3. And if I'm going to click on the selected option, which is the first row over here, while it's in open state, I'm going to turn it into a closed state like this. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the middle column over here. If I were to click on this, it's going to go to the closed state like this. Okay. Alright, I hope I've connected everything. And let me just double check. Okay, let me just go to the presentation view and make sure that everything is connected properly. Okay, if I have to click on this, it's going to close. If I click on this, it's going to open. If I click on option 1 over here, it's going to close. If I click on it again, it's going to open. If I click on option 2, it's going to go to option 2. From option 2, if I have to click on it, it's going to open up the remainder of the options. I can click on option 3, it goes to option 3. Oops, and I found a bug. If I have to click on this right now, it's not going to open up option 3 open state. Let me go to the editor. It's a simple fix. Click on this, just click on this, click the plus sign and drag it to the top like this. Okay, now it's connected. Let me go back to the presentation layer. From the closed state of option 3, I can open it up like this. If you look at the drop-down menu right now, you can see how ugly it is. The corners are so sharp. The black, color on the border is so harsh on the eye. And if I hover over to any of the options, it's really, really ugly. Okay, so how can we fix this? I'm going to show you 3 simple steps. Okay, let's go to the editor, the Figma editor. Now, for the drop-down component, I want you to select all the variant within it. And then you can go to Appearance, go to the corner radius over here, change the value from 0 to 8. Instantly, you can see that the whole look of the drop-down menu now looks a little bit softer, easier on the eye. Okay, the next thing that we'd like to do is to change the color of the border of this drop-down menu. Select all the variant. Again, same thing, scroll down, understroke. Select the black color over here. I'd like you to change it to something that looks a little bit lighter on the eye. Okay, I'm going to change it to gray, just light gray, like this. Okay, now you can see that it looks so much better right now. Okay, let's go back to our presentation view. You can see that it looks so much better. Let's give it a try. Oh man, you can see that when I hover over to any of the options, it still looks really out of place. Why is it out of place? Because if I hover over to option 3, you can see that the bottom left and bottom right, it still has that really sharp corner, super sharp. So how are we going to fix this? Really simple. Let's go back to our drop down component here. Same thing, select all the variant. Once you've selected all the variant, you're going to tick the clip content. Okay, for clip content, make sure you ticked it. Once done, go back to presentation view. If you hover over to any of the options, you can see how beautiful it is now. Okay, so we just did 3 simple steps where we changed the corner radius from 0 to 8, and then we changed the color of the radius, the color of the border from a pure black to a lighter gray, as well as turning on a clip content. The whole thing just looks so much nicer, and it's much easier for the eye to look at it. Okay, so if you find this video useful, you learn something out of it, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. If you can, perhaps subscribe to my channel as well. I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.